Hey, what's up, y'all? So the other day, I received my brand new Native Watercraft 12.5 foot Titan X. It's currently in the middle of January here in Indiana, and it is freezing cold. So the other day, with the help of a friend, we brought this boat inside my living room. So that way I can start rigging this thing up. And so that's what I'm going to do today. I'm going to bring you along with me. You can see it's upside down because one of the first things I'm going to do is install a keel protector from One Objective. Okay, one of the differences you're obviously going to see between my video and the videos that have already been put out by One Objective for the installation of this thing is obviously I'm doing mine inside. It's cold outside. Their videos are usually during the summertime or at least in the warmer months. And while they are prepping the surface to install this, they advocate laying this out in the sunshine, like in the driveway on a nice, asphalt or paved driveway, to let the sun kind of warm this thing up to make it a little more flexible and stretchy. I don't have that ability this time, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a heat gun, and I'll get to that here in just a minute to kind of, like I said, just kind of go over this a little bit to warm it up to make it more pliable and more flexible so I can mold this thing to my keel a lot better. So, get to that in just a minute. A couple things that you will need is some acetone, and again, that's to help get all the oils and the dirt and everything off of the surface of your kayak before you apply the next thing, which is some 3M adhesive. This is some adhesion promoter by 3M, and it's really sticky stuff. And once I get this thing cleaned off, I'm going to apply a little bit of this exactly where I'm going to stick on the keel protector itself. So, okay, so the first thing you want to do is you want to take acetone, not alcohol of any kind, but acetone. Alcohol will seep into the pores of your plastic, and then it can prevent things from sticking very well. So you just take a little bit of acetone. It don't take a whole lot either. I just get a paper towel, damp, and then I just go over the surface of where I'm going to be sticking this thing here in just a minute. Just kind of go over nice and easy, just to, again, make sure it's good and clean. And acetone dries immediately, so that's a nice thing about it. Get all that dust off. All right, that should be good. Pretty good there. All right, so the next thing I want to do is I want to apply this 3M adhesive, this adhesion promoter. And if I can get this thing open, there we go. And yes, this thing is going to be really sticky, so just be careful. Try not to drop it in the dirt if you're doing this outside. All right. So I'm just going to kind of go over the surface here again of where I'm going to apply. It's not that sticky actually, but I think it just again, it helps promote the adhesiveness of the keel protector itself. So just gently go over the area where you're going to be sticking this thing to. It is a little sticky, so again, try not to drop it in the grass if you're doing this outside, or obviously in the gravel or anything like that. Just kind of go over my keel. Okay. Hopefully that'll do it. All right. Now, before I take off the tape to stick this thing up, like I said, I want to heat this thing up a little bit. Again, just to make this more flexible and pliable, and so it'll stretch a little bit. If you're doing this outside, if it's in the summertime and it's a nice sunny day, again, like I mentioned earlier, they recommend just laying this out in the sun for a little bit, 15-20 minutes or whatnot, just to kind of help warm it up. But since it's only 1 degree outside right now, I don't have that option. So I'm gonna just take a heat gun and just go over this thing a few times again, just kind of warm it up a little bit. I'm not trying to melt the thing by any means, but I just want it to be a little more flexible so I can mold this thing to the boat. So, heat this thing up. If you don't have a heat gun and you're doing it this way, you can use a hairdryer if you have one. It's the same difference. Okay. Just a little bit more, just to make sure it's good and flexible, which it pretty much is. You don't want to burn yourself and melt this thing by any means. Not that you can, but. Alright. Okay. That ought to do it. It's pretty flexible now. So now, we're going to try to peel this thing off. Get the tape off. There's two sides to it. And there we go. Alright. So I'm going to look for my mark. I want to get this thing centered. And the biggest thing is you want to work from one end all the way down to the other. You don't want to stick it on and then try to, work it towards the middle, because then you're going to have some pockets, some air pockets. It's going to bow out on you, and you're not going to be able to get it good and flat. So where's my mark? There's my mark. Leave it right there. Okay. There, nice and centered. So. Alright, so I'm just going to work this thing down, working it in both sides as I'm going down the center of my keel here. Kind of pulling it just gently, just enough to kind of stretch it out a little bit. The biggest part here is where this keel makes the sharpest bend. This is where you're most likely to have some bow out. Again, I'm just going to work this thing in as I'm going along, making sure everything is nice and straight. Right down the center. Past that bend, it should be pretty easy for the rest of it, because it flattens out some here. Alright, now I'm just going to continue to work this thing in, one end to the next. Like so. This thing down, like I said. You can even get one of those little rollers if you need to, and roll down the edges to make sure that you get all the bubbles out of it. But really, you just use your thumb, use your fingers. Work this thing in all the way down, starting from one end and working to the other. Come back here. Okay. I think we're good. All right, so there we have it. It's nice and flush, it's tight, and there is my keel protector. Again, this thing's from One Objective. I don't have any bubbles in there. Not that I can see anyway. I don't think I do. There you go. It's really pretty simple as far as the installation. It takes a little bit of work with your fingers, but yeah, it goes on easy. And that sucker is on there too. It's not coming off. All right. So there you have it. Pretty cool stuff.